Good morning to those who listen. It is May 1st, 2018, 12:40 a.m. And here's a news report from Israel Daily, ILTV News. Israel is unveiling Iran's nuclear files, some documents that they've been collecting for a while, proving that Iran lied about their nuclear program, and that the United States and other countries should withdraw from the Iranian nuclear agreement. So here's the story.
We have breaking news just now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has just made a stunning speech on live television, unveiling what he says are hundreds of documents, pictures, and videos supposedly taken from inside Iran's nuclear development facility in Tehran. In a shocking PowerPoint presentation, Netanyahu takes the audience point by point through the history of Iran's nuclear program, illustrating the story with documents pulled directly from Iran's archive. For the PM, the writing on the wall is clear that Iran lied big time about developing nuclear weapons. More than 55,000 pages of evidence have apparently been compiled in what would apparently be an incredible win for Israeli intelligence agencies. Netanyahu claims Iran purposely misled the world about continuing to develop nuclear research in 2015 by moving its data to a different warehouse and concealing the project altogether from nuclear inspectors. The majority of the data Netanyahu presents seems to be from a project begun by Iran in 2003, shortly after the Gulf War, but 15 years later, the Prime Minister says Tehran is still full steam ahead despite signing into the deal in 2015. For this reason and more, Prime Minister Netanyahu again urged the world to drop support for the deal and instead pursue a new path that would end Iran's quest to achieve a nuclear arsenal.
So that's some disturbing news coming right before Israel's 70-year anniversary, of becoming a nation, and the U.S. Embassy opening up too on May 14th. This nuclear deal that Trump is thinking about backing out of is supposed to make this decision by May 12th. Israel, if they have, if they say they have this proof, they might think that this will give them the right to attack Iran preemptively, a preemptive strike, so that they can't use weapons against Israel or the United States for that matter. So I thought of a possible scenario. Now this is just possible, but I've been thinking about this, for a while, about Israel and the 70-year anniversary and the embassy opening up, thinking that there might be some trouble with, we got the Palestinians and the Muslims that want to bust through the security fence into Israel, demanding that they get their own land. And I'm still thinking that with all the protests and the violence, that they might bring in UN troops to protect Israel on that day, and for all the delegates that are going to be there, including a lot from the United States, and the opening of the embassy. But what if Israel struck before then, or maybe like in a week, before the 12th maybe, or maybe after the 12th, anytime between now and the 14th, if they had a strike against Iran, I could see, Iran for one being mad, maybe Syria and Russia, and then possibly maybe they get struck back and possibly, destroying part of the city. Just go with me with this for a minute. And let's say there was some damage to the city. And then they were like, oh, maybe we should cancel the anniversary. But I can see the United States saying, no, go on. And they still open up the embassy too. And then Israel decides to do the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, which would start Daniel's 70 weeks. Now, it's just a possible theory. I'm just throwing that out there. But, it's actually quite possible. I don't think it's going to happen because it would be there wouldn't be much time between. I don't know. I mean, it's still possible, but you know, I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there because we know that Israel and Iran are in prophecy. Jeremiah 49. I'm not exactly sure of the verses, but it says God or Israel will stop Iran before they can attack. Their weapon will be destroyed, and then they will be attacked, or and then the people are supposed to be scattered to the four winds, meaning that maybe they attacked and did a lot of damage, and the people that survived had to be refugees. So that's a Bible prophecy, and we already know that the Gog-Magog alliance is already formed. April 4th, Iran, Turkey, and Russia. If you put it in the other order, Turkey, Iran, and Russia, or I'm sorry, Turkey, Russia, and Iran, you get TRI. It's the TRI alliance, T-R-I. But anyway, that's the three countries that are, and there's three other countries too, but I think it was Ethiopia, Sudan, or something like that. They're smaller countries, but those are the three major countries. And I will just end it there now. But you know, just a scenario I was throwing out there because I really think there's a chance for a lot of things that could happen in just these 2 weeks up until May 14th, 15th. There could be, you know, you never know, war could be started, or there could be a lot of violence from the Palestinians, and that causes something to happen. I think there is something going to happen. They're claiming that they're going to get 1 million people to protest on that day. There's going to be a lot of chance for violence on that day. So just pray for everything. God will do whatever His will is. So God's in control. We don't have to worry about that. But anyway, there's your update on Israel and a possible scenario of what could happen. And if by any chance, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if they did announce this, the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, which is the Daniel 70 weeks prophecy, that would mean we were already in 2 full years of the first part of the tribulation, meaning we'd have about 1 year and 4 months, approximately, until the midpoint of the tribulation. But again, remember, no man knows the day or the hour, so I'm just throwing it out there. And that would be just to the midpoint anyway. Who says we can't predict to the midpoint? And then after the midpoint happens and all the stuff starts happening, if we have a power outage, like a permanent one, and then the pole shift happens, and say we're, after we stop rotation and then start up again and then start speeding up, we have less days, maybe we'll have 1/3 less of the days, meaning we only have like 16-hour days. We don't have no way to look at clocks to see what time it is, and then, we're speeding faster and faster, and our days are getting shorter and shorter. No one could ever possibly know. So it is a possible theory. Not saying it's true, but I will keep praying and seeking God on this. But we'll see what happens. We only got 2 weeks to go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. God bless.